How Long Gone? Coming to you live from the Lismore Hotel in beautiful Eau Claire, Wisconsin. It's a Sunday morning. The sun is shining. I believe that's God's light. I don't know about you, but it feels like that to me.
That's Bond's light.
So we're in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, in a Hilton hotel. Jason's sitting on my beautiful sectional.
Mm-hmm. L shape. I'm on the top of the L, not the bottom.
On the top of the L, not the bottom.
I'm on the part where the L's straight and you're a little more flat. Bottom ass.
Bottomly.
Yeah, we did drive past friends of my Instagram stories and saw me post a giant yellow 18-wheeler, and the hauling company is called Bottomly, and it was really just making me want to do like a bossy bottom but British.
Bottomlys.
Yeah, it's like, this is my bottoming butler.
Mm-hmm. Hello, let me clean up.
Mm-hmm. Kind of like the guy on The Nanny.
Oh yeah, sure, of course. No, we're heading to the airport after this. It's only a 48-hour quickie here in Eau Claire. I don't know if I need more time in Eau Claire. I think 48 hours is actually perfect. I mean, if you go to April Base and you see Justin's compound, and then you go to a bar that's famous for hot beef, and you see Bob Dylan in what looked to be a college volleyball stadium.
That's right.
What more? I mean, we've done it, you know?
College is doing a lot there. It's not an uppercase C college.
It was a nice building, though.
It was a nice building.
It was new.
It did. I think there could be some high school tournaments there for volleyball.
Yeah, definitely. You could fit multiple courts in there.
Yeah, and there's one last thing that we need to do on the way back to the airport, which is just I need to bop into Culver's and try one of their double butter burgers.
I know. I'm not looking forward to this because
I'm gonna make it. It'll be like when we went to Bojangles when we were on that southern road trip that one time when
I remember
you, me, Kara. Well, it was everyone but you were like, we want to go to Jangles. And then you're like, haha, that's so funny. And then we're like, no, seriously, pull in. And you're like, no. And then you made us eat the food outside of the car in the parking lot.
That's what we're going to do today, too, you're saying. Okay.
Like, it's okay if you smoke, but just do it outside.
But you only need a couple bites of the burger to get the flavor.
Yeah, I mean, unless it is a unworldly mouthgasm, I will likely not finish this.
What am
burger.
I going to eat? I'm starving. I don't...
This is a bang bang. This is just, I've already mapped it out. I know which Culver's.
Oh, you know which is on the way.
We'll take the Bottomly route where it's going to be kind of a north by northwest as we head up into the St. Paul area. But, well, I'll hit the Culver's.
Okay.
For me, science purposes only.
Of course.
Munch
Research.
down, make a boomerang of it, throw it away, give it to a pigeon. Who knows? They don't have any homeless people here, so I don't know who to pass it to.
That's true. I haven't seen a single homeless person, and we're in the heart of downtown. I feel like.
Yeah, if they're gonna be giving unhoused, it's gonna be happening right here.
Right here.
And then we'll go find a Blimpies or whatever it is that you want to eat.
Honestly, the veggie sandwich.
What do you feel like? You want to get a Subway? For reals?
The veggie sandwich at ECDC looks kind of banging.
Bro, no.
No? Okay.
We can't have hotel lobby, coffee shop, made it on Friday sandwich.
I believe that sandwich to be fresh, actually. To be honest, I think that their business is robust enough that they have to
believe
eat fresh.
This.
No, I don't know what I want to do.
Well, just tell me what you're looking for, and I'll map us out.
I mean, maybe, yeah.
Since I can't drive.
I feel like a submarine of some kind is the best thing to take through security. Because when you leave from Minneapolis, St. Paul to go to Europe, in New York.
I don't know.
The flight to
I've
Milan.
Never done that flight.
The flight to Milan, that leaves tonight is like 9:50. That's like the normal late time from the East Coast to go to Europe, so you get there in the morning. Mm-hmm. This one leaves at 3:45, and then you're
landing in Paris at what time?
Like 9 a.m. or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's giving red eye.
It's not that bad, but it's you have to stay up for 3 hours before you go to sleep. You know what I mean? That's the problem. Like when you get on,
you're not going to be able to pass out at 3:57 p.m.
Exactly.
For your
no matter how many
slumber.
lunestas I snort off my tray table, there's no way.
How many loonies you got?
I'm knocked out. But yeah, so I'm a little. This is going to be once again an adventure I'm putting myself through. I don't feel great, but this is what we do. I persist.
And then once you get to CDG, then you have a layover for how long?
Couple hours.
2 hours.
Yeah.
And then you hit Milano just in time for your aperitivo, spritzo.
I'll be able to go to the cursed Air France lounge to have a bad coffee and like a piece of fruit wrapped in plastic, and then I'll move on to beautiful Milan. But I have to
I'm sure they have a bruschetta.
I have to meet somebody like right at when I get there.
Oh,
It's
by the way, do you have any of those special toothpicks from our new friend?
yeah.
Bless me, bro.
Well, it's in my bag. It's packed.
Oh my
Sorry.
God, fucking.
Yeah, we
fuck.
just got introduced to nicotine toothpicks yesterday.
I guess I could just pull out a refreshing Lucy. Yeah, nicotine toothpick. It seems like a great workaround. Hopefully, Lucy cranks those out soon.
Did you know that existed?
It doesn't surprise me when I learned of its existence, but I didn't.
But
know
I didn't
that
know.
I
Yeah,
don't
that's
think
kind of
I've
how
ever
I feel
sampled
about
one.
it too. That's kind of how I feel about it too. I'm always excited to learn about new stuff.
Oh, tell me more about that, brother. That's cool.
Tell me more. Oh, you have 100 packs of these?
Let me pop open my Lucy Breakers.
Okay. Do you actually like these?
Uh-huh.
This is an audio broadcast.
I mean, it give you what you want, I guess.
Do you get zooted?
Yeah, you get zooted.
You're drinking a coffee and you got the Lucy tucked in. You're trying to fly.
Every white guy here does this.
That's actually very true. There's only white guys here, so I mean that's the entire population.
Now, there's a lot of Asians in the hotel right now for some type of family event going on.
Yeah, there was like a little Asian guy, like child, in a tuxedo eating, had like a plate of food that looked kind of banging.
Okay, he had a plate of food.
He was literally like a 6-year-old walking with a tuxedo on with a plate of spring rolls. I'm not kidding. It was so sick.
Why's it got to be spring rolls?
Because it actually was spring rolls.
Fried or not?
Fried, bro. We ain't doing that summer roll shit. I hate a summer roll. Fuck that.
You hate a summer roll?
No, I don't hate it. But if I had to choose, I want
your
spring.
fat ass want the crunchy.
I mean, you've made. I feel like Carolyn's
You
made
want
good.
French fries or salad, fat boy?
It depends on the time of day. Depends on the time of day.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I saw some of those little Asian people as well.
Well, I just don't know what was going on. They were having
Children.
there's two events going on at our hotel. It's some sort of Asian family gathering and then a scrapbooking convention. I shared the elevator with back from the gym today with a couple scrappers.
Really?
Yeah, and they had like giant
They're kids.
tubs of
Tubs.
well, if you saw them you'd say tubs too. It just like
You had a couple wide back scrapbookers.
wide back scrapbookers, but it's just kind of like it just looked like a junk drawer emptied into a giant clear toolbox is kind of the vibe.
Mm-hmm. It's like the Rubbermaid tubs that you get down at Home Depot or Walmart for $17.
But I was very impressed with their dedication because this is like day 3. How many scrapbooks? I mean, how many?
This is Scrapcella.
Yeah, scrap.
Sunday. I mean, Sunday is where the real shit goes.
Are
down.
you going to? You're not going to Coachella, are you?
I might go week 2 just for the story.
Is there anybody worth seeing?
Charlie XCX,
Okay.
whom we would get artist passes through.
I think you can get it. Can't you get it from what's his name?
I mean, I could get it for weekend 2. Yeah, they.
Oh,
hand
no
them
one
out.
wants weekend too.
Well, I think it's sort of changed. There's a lot of people who I would be interested in seeing. Charlie XCX. Don't need to see the Misfits. I mean, I'd like to see Claro.
Yeah, the Claro show looks really good. I'm kind of
It
bummed.
looks like a very cute stage setup, of course.
Ooh.
Carolyn would want to see Jimmy Eat World. I would like to see Blonde Redhead.
I don't want to see Blonde Redhead at Coachella. I want to see Blonde Redhead at Bowery Ballroom, but I understand where you're going with it.
Okay. I would like to see Twigs, but I think she canceled her entire tour.
Why do you want to see Twigs?
It was just more of a transitional segue into talking about how she canceled her tour.
She can't. That when you cancel a tour because you didn't file paperwork in time, that means that you were never planning to go on tour.
Yeah, I mean, I feel bad for her.
I don't. She definitely has a.
People are coming for her saying like, "What do you mean you canceled Mexico? They will let anyone in." Type shit. Like, you don't even need a visa to get into Mexico.
Oh, I see. It's like you lying a little bit.
But in her defense, it's plausible that the routing of it all doesn't make sense. Of course.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's also probably no one wants to go, So
I feel like, but there's certain artists who are known for having the reputation of being tricky on tour and being pesky, and then sometimes it's worth it and sometimes it's not. Like a Morrissey is a good example of biggest bitch to deal with of all time, but it's Morrissey, so worth it.
Twigs hasn't earned that.
And then you've got a maybe Azalea Banks has a reputation of showing up, not friend of the show Sky Ferreira.
Yeah.
All of her excuses are of course valid, and
of course, yeah. She's given us generational hits, so she can do whatever she wants.
But it makes you wonder, and then fans like that almost. Like if you're not a true Morrissey fan or a true Sky fan, if you don't show up to the gig that you spent $74 for, didn't have to get a sitter because you're gay, but you did some commitment. She doesn't show up at all, and then you're like, yes,
well,
Sky
you get
doing
to
exactly what she should be doing.
You get to go on your r/Sky Ferreira and be like, I can't believe it.
It happened.
I think it's partly, yeah. Well, I mean, we were talking about this because.
But all that is to say, these things seem to happen to certain people, and after a while, a trend. It may stop being a coincidence, and it may start being user error.
It's no longer a coinky dink after a certain point. I mean, this is a nice segue into Bob Dylan last night. We watched 2 hours of Bob Dylan. Great seats. Thank you to Justin and his manager for getting us those seats. And
we're not too close to the stage.
Bob Dylan did 2 hours of songs that I, as a casual fan, I have never heard, and from what I could tell in the audience, no one else had heard them either. And I thought to myself, what if you went to go see Morrissey and he didn't play like "There's a Light That Never Goes Out" or like "Ask" or something? Because he always, like
he always throws a couple bones.
I mean, he throws more than a couple now, I think.
Yeah.
And I think
there may have been times in his career where he was like, "Fuck these motherfuckers! They're getting C sides and D sides."
But only. Bob Dylan. I have to say, I'm the power. I respect that. It's insane. It's so powerful to be like, I have like several songs that are especially popular now because of the movie that just came out about me, and I'm not going to give you even a taste of that.
Yeah, well, I guess in the sense of him and Morrissey, there is the fandom of one-upsmanship for all of their loyal fans. For these people who have hundreds of songs, so many B-sides, it becomes a competition of like, if you're a real head, you don't want to hear the big hits. You want him to play the most obscure song you've ever heard, and you want to be the one person who stands up and claps and pretends like this is your bop.
There was a guy sitting in front of us who he was giving, I mean, a lot of people here are giving Blue Lives Matter, but he was giving like a black and white American flag patch on his hoodie type beat. He seemed to be there with his wife, and
he brought his own beer koozie to the biggest night in town.
That's Eau Claire, baby. And then he proceeded to yell, "Play a song, Bob," while Bob was playing a song.
First, he was booing him,
which is funny,
for like 60 seconds.
Like a loud, like
5,000 cap volleyball auditorium. Everyone is old and polite and seated, and you can hear a pin drop, and this guy is just boo, boo, and I didn't understand what was going on at first. Because I was like, oh, is this guy such a Bob fan that this one particular song he didn't play the third bridge, is it like some shit that I don't know about? And then I quickly learned that it was just a regular old boo.
Just a classic boo, and then play a song was really funny.
Steve Hayden, the music writer, he tweeted today about it. He was at the show, and I was like,
I saw it. Did you not see him?
I don't know.
Oh, I saw him. I talked to him when I got there.
I replied, and he was like, wait, you're in Eau Claire? So maybe I didn't see him.
Oh.
Anyway.
Oh, wait.
Whatever.
I fucked up.
Okay, you fucked up. You saw a different
I saw
music
Steve
writer.
Marsh.
Look, it's a pretty... You get a pass on that. You're good.
Those are my guys, though.
Anyway, basically what he said, this guy said, play a song, Bob, while Bob was playing a song. But just the way he said it, I couldn't hate it. It was coming from a real place of anger and frustration, but I really wanted to lean over and tap him on the shoulder and say like, hey, I know Bob has never played here before in his entire career, and maybe this is the first time you've ever been to a live music event, but Bob doesn't really play the hits, and that's kind of the whole thing. And, I just don't want you to get your expectations up like he's going to play, Blowing in the Wind.
I think his wife
encore.
did that in some way that maybe didn't resonate with him.
But he didn't stop.
No, he stopped. He stopped because I think his wife was like, "You're sleeping on the couch if you don't fucking clap."
But his clap was performative and sarcastic.
It was over the top. It was, and honestly, it was performative and sarcastic.
But I loved watching it because the show, of course, was quite exquisitely boring, and Bob wasn't playing songs.
One of the most boring things I've ever been to, but he didn't sound bad. Like, it wasn't bad. It's just boring. You know what I mean? Like, I was expecting it to be like weird and like, oh my God, like, why is he doing this? And it wasn't like that. It was just like, I can't sit here anymore.
It was a little masturbatory, but I think Bob knows that, at this point he is an animal in a zoo that people are willing to pay $78 for, and just to see him before he's done.
But he also didn't play guitar.
He didn't play guitar.
He only sits down and then occasionally stands up at the piano.
But he also is 90, so.
I was surprised. I thought it was going to be a lot worse. Boring is the least, like, that was the least. I knew that was baseline.
It was one of the, you reached over and asked me like, hey, did you take an edible? And I said, no, I did not.
I was shocked.
And you were like, what the fuck is wrong? Of all this. This is the moment, and I started thinking. I started sort of like, maybe I'm just gonna try to like get into it, and like like when you're watching The Grateful Dead or Fish or whatever, and I am like, I understand what's happening, but I'm not gonna get swept away by whatever spirit is happening to a lot of these people. So I was like, I'm just gonna see if I can close my eyes and just let Bob wash over me, and it was sort of working, but then I would open my eyes and I would hear, like, I would have the song in my head because my eyes were closed, and I was just really able to wrap my head around how it sounded. And I was like, okay, I see the groove, and there's, reading in between the lines and doing a good job. And I'd open my eyes and I'd see all the guitar players moving their hands. And it was like watching a Disney like animatronic band or like the Bullwinkles band, like they would move their hand up the neck, and the sound would get lower. It just looked like when you see a little kid like air guitaring to a song, and you're like, oh, they're trying. What sound was coming out had nothing to do with what it looked like on stage.
That's kind of true. I mean, you're right. And
there's two guitar players, and they're like, you see their hands moving, and they're plucking and blah blah blah. And I'm like, I don't even know if I hear a guitar at all.
I mean, I was mostly, I liked it when he bust out the harmonica. That felt like the peak moments when he was.
That's his version of playing Ask.
Yeah, which is not the same.
Like, if you're not going to play a single song anyone's ever heard in the history of time, at least give me a little.
Yeah, I mean, he sounded good. And it's also, this happens sometimes where I'm like, maybe I don't understand music the way I think I do, where I'm like, this sounds like off, but then I'm like, I don't think it is. Like, I'm saying, like, he's like going crazy on the piano, and I'm like, this sounds weird. And then I'm like, well, maybe it's supposed to be weird, and it is fine. I just don't get it.
I think his brain is so hyperactive. He's written thousands of songs. He has them all memorized and blah, blah, blah. He's played them so many times. I think it's just he's up there to sort of amuse himself.
Totally. And he's earned that. That's what my whole thing is. Like, yo, if you're this guy and you can sell the tickets and you want to keep playing, go do whatever you want. You've earned it.
Yeah, there's some DJs who are like that, like this guy Ricardo Villalobos, who is just like this freak, and he'll just play whatever, and sometimes it sounds really weird, and an 18-minute song that's just like a weird sound effect, and it's like, how hard can you handle it? Like, how much of a head are you? How, or like, I think we're making like a Mad Lib comparison about like super kind of swung, where things get so, or maybe in like a style of a Catronata for our younger listeners, where it's like boom, boom, cha, boom, cha, boom, and then you're like, oh, this is kind of head knocking. Bob is taking that but he's cranking it up so far that it has swung completely
Bob
out.
is knocking on head's door. is what you're saying?
He's gone so far out of the pocket that he's created a new pocket.
His own pocket.
Yeah.
You might be right.
And then it's just like a drum with it's just mic'd. Like it was like watching a dad band. It was like watching Carolyn's dad's band do Creedence covers at the community center. The bass is just, here's a bass. Nobody has a pedal. There's no.
I appreciated.
There's no effects. There's no reverb.
He did like an echo thing at one point.
There was one song, poor fucking front of house guy, where like every 16th line he would hit a little tape echo and be like, but only on one word of one part.
Yeah, it was always like one word
of the pre-chorus kind of thing.
But look, I'm glad we went. I think it was like it's just such a funny way to end a weekend in a place like this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like an unexpected. Like we went to a family-owned Italian restaurant that felt like stuck in time, and then you go see Bob Dylan, and then you go to a bar that has hot beef and is famous for their mustard.
Yeah, everyone's like, why is this bar so good? And they're like, they got the best mustard in town. And I'm like, I'm a long way from home, brother.
We learned a lot at dinner last night.
This restaurant was called Dragonetti's.
Which is, the name is amazing. The vibe was amazing.
DRAG.
And I honestly, I was not mad. I was not mad at that pizza. I thought it was going to be.
It was a crackery style bar pie where they slice it into a bunch of little tiny squares instead of slices. And since it's so thin, you can take the whole thing to the head, and you don't really feel like it's a belly
crazy.
buster.
But it was good. It was good.
You feel like you just ate a sleeve of saltines instead of a deep dish.
Exactly. Chicago could never. But we were sitting across from Justin's dad at dinner,
Big Papa, who was
was
very stoked that Bob played Key West.
He was Key West lover. But Justin's,
for our Jokerman listeners,
this is our Jokerman crossover episode.
Don't worry, guys. Sneak preview. I mean, I'll post about it on my Substack. But yeah, he did Key West.
But
all 12 verses.
Justin's dad just really, he makes his own maple syrup.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he lives in the wood. But I was just
he lives so far up into Wisconsin that he's basically Canadian.
Yeah, and
he said grade 6 instead of 6th grade.
But the way he was talking about like the term, like just the way he was talking about making maple syrup. I'm like, oh, you got to tap this and do that. And I was just like, this is.
Yeah, he was talking about the AB comp for the sugar percentage viscosity.
Yeah.
And you can use, if you don't have your thermal meter Velociraptor 4000, then you can do a test with certain olive oils that'll have a comparable viscosity. And you're like, brother, what are you talking about?
And it's sick because he's probably giving this maple syrup away to friends and family. There's no other. It's not being sold at the local farmer's market or the Quick Stop.
They could be doing the vinyl bundle, but Jag's leaving a little syrup on the table.
I got the new record. It came with some syrup.
There was a spill. Just to let you know, your maple syrup, it should weigh 11 pounds for every gallon, whereas water is about 10 pounds a gallon. That's where you want to be at with your.
How would I have known that? Like how would I have learned? My eyes were opened, is all I'm saying.
Yeah. What else did we learn from Papa Iver?
Well, we learned about the
meat raffles.
The meat raffle and like the gambling.
The flip. What was it called?
Pull tab. If you live in the Midwest, you are hard right now. But
we talked about this on the last pod about our gripes with pickleball when I said you're gamifying a game.
Yeah.
When you're like, this game is not. I need more game. This isn't good enough. I need fentanyl now.
Going to a bar and getting drunk as hell, and then them announcing that you won 3 T-bones is very cool.
A meat yeah, you show up to a bar and they have meat raffles, gun raffles as well.
That feels old school. That might be in border towns only.
I don't know. I mean, it seems
that ain't gonna happen here, is what I'm saying.
It's not going to be in front of the Old Navy on 9th Street, but it's happening somewhere. There's a Facebook group right now that's probably got a lot of great gun raffles happening today. But yeah, you show up, and everyone you either do it where every time you get a drink, it gives you a raffle ticket, or you just buy them for like $5 each, and then they will just raffle off a gun, and then, like you said, at the end of it, when you've had 14 beers, they're like, "Here's your gun. See you later." And I'm like, so there's no paperwork, there's no 3-day approval thingy, background check, and they're like,
It ain't really like that. It ain't really like
I mean,
that.
when I was in the lobby coming down to get a coffee, there was a guy who was walking out. He had in his left hand a gallon jug of orange juice, but like truck stop orange juice.
Nice.
And then the other one, 2 guns. They were in cases.
Like strapped up or in his hand?
They were in cases. They're like hunting rifles in the Cabela's case.
Oh, okay. I
But
gotcha.
it wasn't no violin. You could tell these were guns. And he was just like, I'm in downtown Eau Claire, Wisconsin.
Well, he might have been hunting. But can't you?
Where?
Good question. But you can check a gun,
Yeah, you can.
right?
On an airplane.
That's right. Okay.
Several, I think.
I've seen that.
depending
You
on
see
what
that a
city.
lot going to Canada because people are going to hunt and shit. So you see it. But like that is still a shock to see.
Yeah, I saw a lot of that. And then there's a lot of people who just, I mean, we've talked about this before at hotels where people show up with all of their food and drinks. But here I noticed, and I think it could be a Midwestern trend of like wherever you're going, you have a cooler, and the cooler, you just park it. And that could be at a football game or a park or in the lobby of a Hilton hotel. And people just are like, it's cold outside, so I'm just going to drink my canned beer. I'm going to drink my Busch Light just standing in the lobby like Boomhauer and them.
I mean,
And they're like, this is a hotel that has 2 active bars.
that part makes it feel a little crazier that the hotel wouldn't crack down, but the people working at this hotel don't seem super. I think they're going to let it fly.
Of course. I mean, I think that's just like a standard code of conduct here. It's not a behavior that raises any flags.
We're going to drink 10 beers somewhere.
Yeah, the social, nobody here is going to be like, "Hey man, what are you guys doing?" They're going to be like, "Seems normal to me."
Yeah, I'm glad we haven't had any altercations.
Everyone here is way too nice to have an
people are very nice.
considering how drunk they are. It's pretty impressive.
I'm
But
sure
everyone
I'm
here
sure
is way too nice.
I'm sure if we got near the university, there'd be some problems. You know.
I mean, we walked by. It was like when we parked to go to the Bob Dylan show. It was the most heartland of America shit ever. And this was sort of in like it was like the college row where the frat houses are. So it was like halfway trap housey, like some shit on the ground and garbage and like beer bottles. And it was looking kind of nasty, but it was all like 19-year-old white kids named Kaylee. And they were playing beer pong on the sidewalk and they were blasting.
But I want to be clear about the beer pong too. It was like a wooden, like a table they made.
Yeah.
Custom. It wasn't like a shit folding table. It was like this stays
It wasn't a folding
here.
table. It wasn't a ping pong table. It was a custom made piece, likely from Design Week Milan.
Yes. Oh, 100%.
And they were playing that. And then when a car drove by, he would flag him down and say, "You can park in my driveway for $20." And it was just so weird to see that happening. And then they're blasting Bob Dylan, but the complete unknown Timmy's versions. and I was like, these are people who learned about Bob Dylan from the movie.
100%.
And they're like, I'm going to go check this guy out.
100%.
And that made me feel old.
It did that whole vibe was pretty funny though. Because it's also too cold to be doing that, but they were just like, fuck it, we're out here.
But also Timmy sounded good. He put his whole fucking twink thrusy in that. We went over to Bon Iver's house. We recorded an episode of How Long Gone that'll be out, I guess, in a week from today, right? When his record comes out. And we got to see, the compound where the magic happens.
Very impressive compound.
Very impressive compound.
Like that, I've been in a lot of recording studios. That's not a brag. That's depressing. And that is maybe the coolest.
Yeah.
It really feels like it's getting done in there. When sometimes you go to these big, expensive, famous studios and it just feels like there's 15 runners to go get barbecue and like no one's really doing anything, and this feels like work was getting
Some
done.
people taking naps.
Yeah, it's like
half-eaten French fry container.
it just feels like somebody's paying for this and we don't care. You know, like we're just kind of kick it for 2 months.
This is our hangout zone.
Yeah, exactly.
Our clubhouse.
It's nicer than our apartment.
Yeah, the you know, he has the dream setup. You know, he's just got a house that has his recording studio, little gym, little kitchen, you know, the sauna.
I got to say his coffee, I wasn't.
And he's barista coded.
He's kind of nasty with the how do you say it? La Marcosa.
Yeah, he was tweaking it, man. It was quite good.
But I feel like the
we
chef,
had a delicious home cooked meal.
That shit really warmed my soul.
A hearty stew, a butternut squash galette, and a salad with local caught trout, and all the veggies in the salad were grown on the property.
Yeah, you can't.
It was like it was really Alice Watersy.
It was Alice-y. It was Alice Watersy.
It was
but
you
just can't do that kind of shit in New York or LA. You just can't. And if you do, it feels different. Like if that's in LA, it feels totally different.
If that's in LA, we're in the $60 million zone.
That's also true. Yeah, but it just doesn't feel as like home, quote unquote.
No, not at all. No. If the LA version and the New York version of it would be tainted in so many ways, it would lose that home cooking
but
feel to it.
But as soon as we got there, I was like, oh, I get it. I see why you're like, this is like, it feels like this is where you have to be.
They don't have the $19 Japanese strawberry up in here.
No, they don't. And that is nice. That is nice.
They do have a cheese curd though. And it was our first video podcast as well.
Yeah. I mean,
feeling like Stavros.
If that's all you got to do, just have 3 guys with 3 cans, easy, you know?
Yeah, it was cool also recording our podcast in, you know, one of the nicest sounding rooms, like his live room, which is just this amazing room.
I was going to go into the grand piano room and just kind of sequester myself, but
that double door to go into the soundproof piano room with the Steinway in there. Mamma mia. You could hear an ant walking across the floor.
I think that's what it was, though, is the studio felt like everything was set up to, like, if we wanted to sit down and record a song, we could.
Yeah, and I think
it was like ready to go.
That's the idea. You walk in and there's a switch, you know, the master switch, like in a hotel room. You turn it on, whoop, and you hit the space bar in Pro Tools. The drums mic'd up, the synths are mic'd up, the bass amps ready to go, and you just get it popping. You tell Jimmy Stack to do one of your little bleep bloops. And then we start.
Use your little fingers, boy. We got to make something.
Yeah.
I told him, I was like,
amazing.
I was talking to him yesterday. I was like, we had the full experience, except we didn't make any beats. You know, and that's the only thing we didn't do.
I didn't lay anything fresh down at all. Let's see here. What else? Oh yeah, I had a slice of Bon Iver's custom pizza as well.
Yeah, at Dragon Eddie's.
Green olives, onions, and banana peppers, I believe.
Twisted.
Really good.
I can't.
And that's something I would never order. But I think, you know, we were talking a lot about sauerkrauts. And I think
kraut is big in this.
Mustards and vinegars, you know, Wisconsin runs on that. You think it's going to be cheese and beer, and it is, but it's also they take their krauts and their pickles and their vinegars very seriously over here. And I think it's because most of the year it's -35, and that's the only way you're really going to get any vegetables up in you a lot of times.
See. It's like the only way to nourish.
And also, you know, the German, Austrian roots, the diaspora, as they say. But kraut is so huge here. Kraut and syrup.
When do you kraut? Like, when obviously hot dog is probably the most famous place I would think of a kraut. What other applications? Like, if you give me top 3 kraut applications.
I would say, yeah, a hot dog situation, a sandwich situation, like a Reuben, you know, pastrami, kraut, mustard kind of thing. That's for the Jewish homies a little bit more so. And then also, you know, there's other krauts in other cultures, you know, where you'll have like a cabbage salad kind of thing. That's a little that you eat it alongside some like beans and rice and protein kind of thing, and it'll have a little bit more like a habanero Scotch bonnet pepper in there. It's like a spicy vinegary.
But these are the kraut is gut healing, correct?
It's gut healing, but it also cleanses the palate. It's really bitter and crunchy and acidic. So if you're eating like rich, fatty foods like a hot dog or a pastrami, it cuts it. It cleanses the palate.
When's the last time you had a hot diggity dog?
I don't eat them too often. I probably have 2 dogs a year, something like that. But
I just saw it.
Hot dog is a very forgiving, amazing, delicious food, oftentimes more enjoyable than a burger.
It looks good to me, but I don't want to eat it, if that makes sense. Like, I'm thinking of this because I saw Camille, our friend Camille is in LA, and she was she posted like a blurry pic of her hot dog from Pink's, and I was kind of like, God damn, that looks delicious, but I don't want to eat that.
What about it is...
there's something about a lot of toppings, and I don't feel that way about... Is
it because it's messy, you take one bite and it spills on your lap?
No, it's the level of customization that's available, I think.
Okay. Well, I think that goes for a lot of foods, and then a lot of people, the purists for, sushi or hot dogs or whatever... are going to say, like, you don't need to put caviar and gold leaf and truffles on something.
I mean traditional only.
I know. But, like, a traditional hot dog eater might just say, like,
ketchup,
mustard only for the real heads. Because, if you don't want to... You want to enjoy the flavor of the meat and the craftsmanship of the dogsmith who crafted it, and you don't want it to taste like sour cream and
you don't want to
overpower it. Bacon bits.
I mean, have you been to Hot Doug's?
In Chicago?
Yeah.
I have, yeah.
Yeah, I went there. I years and years ago, and I had whatever it's just, there's just some vegetarian shit I don't want. And a hot dog is one of those things.
You heard it here first,
I'll just go without.
Let's go pay some bills.
I'll just go without.
I'll just go without. Okay. Well, I guess that's it. Anything in the news? I wrote a few things down. Let's see. Oh, yeah, Russell Brand. They finally got Russ, which Jonah Hill is having a bad week right now, and they get him to the Greek.
I wonder if this is like what happens, like the streams go up.
Yeah, I mean, DVD sales of Get Him to the Greek are through the roof right now for our Criterion listeners.
That is actually crazy. I would love to talk to Jonah Hill about that.
I mean, it reminds me of like the Back to the Future photograph where his family is disappearing, and he has to go back and like that DVD cover of Russ, Jonah, and Puff. He's the only one left.
But do you remember how famous he was? How famous Russell Brand? Like Russell Brand was like a household name in America for like a 5-year period. Mm-hmm. It seems like an eternity ago. To me.
Yeah.
But Russell Brand was very famous and dated a lot of our famous women, and was just like, people loved him.
I mean, the problem was he was funny sometimes.
Totally.
I mean, I'm not trying to gas him up at all. He's an awful, awful person.
Oh, of course. But in his heyday, he was popular for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, I think we like any type of sort of mischievous British person who's not afraid to say the thing that everyone else is afraid to say. It's just, a lot of times those folks, the Reaper comes for them. But what do you think is going to happen to him? Do you think he's going to go down gracefully, or do you think he's going to flee to Thailand?
Well, I guess he's got like a family.
I'm sure.
Well, I didn't know that. I saw a picture of him.
I know he's got kids.
He's like on the beach with his kids yesterday. Like paparazzi called, what I mean? To like show so I feel like he's going to stay and fight it.
Well, I mean, it was in London, right? Or it was in England where
It's England. The charges are in England, yeah.
So is he going to go willingly to his court date and turn himself in, or is he going to have to be extradited?
No, I think he'll go willingly. I think he'll like try to make it some weird platform for him to spout from, I
remember like a year ago he was selling these amulets that protected him. You remember that, like the crystal necklace thing?
It's he used to be like a Bernie bro, like, and went full like. But it feels like it was just like a money thing. It doesn't. I don't know. Nothing about him feels super authentic to me.
I think once you know that some skeletons in your closet might pop up, it's sort of you're hedging your bets and flipping over to the other side where they're a little more believe men than
they're a little more
the Bernie
pro
side.
SA and like it's just. I mean, if you really do look at the amount of right-leaning people who have some sort of like allegation or charge, it's like overwhelming. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, hopefully something cool happens to him. I mean, cool in terms of like
Punishment.
a punishment. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, he needs to. I mean, he's got to go away.
and it's very un-American for him. You know, him and Elon are coming into America, stealing our dollars with their ulterior motives. Get him out of here.
Get him out. Get him out.
And let our immigrants stay here.
I would gladly take any immigrant over Elon Musk or.
Fuck yeah, man. I got a lot of. I posted a photo of us with Justin, and you got a lot of compliments on your look. A lot of people said this is one of Chris's best looks.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, they were complimenting us in general, but there was a lot of people who were saying like, "Oh, they really liked whatever it was that you were doing."
So my country Chris, Midwest Chris, crossover.
It's kind of, you know, like Supreme Skater, but done in the best way possible.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
I mean, there's nothing cooler than that. Well, it was.
Yeah.
That shirt is from Carter Young, and it's like kind of gauzy.
It's thin.
Like you have to wear a shirt underneath it.
Of course. Unless you're on holiday.
Unless you're on holiday, or you could maybe wear it with a suit, and it would be kind of cool. You know what I mean? Summer, obviously. But yeah, well, thank you to all those people that liked my look.
You had some Carhartts on? Is that what that was?
Yeah, I've had those for a long time, but I finally got a good pair like 4 or 5 years ago. They're like brown, which is nice. I used to have a black pair back in the day, and then they're so like I've literally had them for 15 years, and they look so good, but they're just too tight. Like because like I wore them too tight.
Got it.
You know what I mean? Like they would look better on a woman. You know what I mean? Because they would be slightly oversized.
Or a less beefy person in general.
All my great pants that are perfectly aged and repaired, they're just a victim of the skinny jean era where things were a little like I would get them taken in a little bit. You know what I mean? And it's just they don't like it would be amazing. I would have crazy shit, double RL, APC, Carhartt. I'd have all the shit I want.
But so this is like the reverse of when a fat person loses weight. And then they can't fit into and then they get rid of them, and then you're like, oh, that style.
It's just crazy to think about all of cooler. the how clothes used to fit and how that changes like decade to decade. You know, and now
at a certain age, you have to stop being skinny girl.
I mean, skinny's back is what they're saying. The skinny jean is
it absolutely is, but not for middle-aged people, I don't think.
No.
It's a real cry for help.
But I will say a straight leg, the middle ground is the most flattering for the most people, and I don't know how
Depending
that gets
on body
forgotten.
type.
But you know what I mean? I don't know how that gets forgotten because it's like if I look at a picture of that era, ooh, I don't love it. I don't love it. Because it was like I was buying the right stuff, but the fit was wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, I looked fine. It wasn't like abysmal, but it just, you just make a lot of mistakes. Luckily, there's not a lot of photographs of me.
That's a problem with life, man. You figure it out by the time you die. You got it all figured out.
You got it all figured out. Damn, it really makes you think, bro.
Yeah, we were talking about the nicotine toothpicks, and you were talking about, or somebody mentioned it to you as like a form of being able to quote unquote lock in.
Yeah.
Let's say like if you had a deadline for a book to turn in, and writing a book is hard sometimes, and somebody with your attention span that has sort of been fisted out and turned inside
deteriorated.
out. Yeah. If the walls could talk, they would say, call 911.
Yes.
And do you think this is going to be? I mean, because you're probably not going to do a Zyn with a nose strip at Pete's coffee shop.
For some reason,
5,000 words a day.
Zen scares me. Like it feels like a weird step.
Lucy doesn't, but Zyn for sure.
It just feels like a step too far. And it's not even like I don't want to be one of those guys. I don't want to be one of those guys because I think of Tucker Carlson,
Sure.
But I do want to lock in. I love locking in.
I think, we're early in the development, like vaping was really rough for a number of years and embarrassing and required a lot of work and upkeep.
Now it's just part of the fabric.
And then the Juul came out and everyone was like, oh, this is like a way that you can do this thing that I really secretly want to do without the shame. And I think, as time advances, the toothpick is there. maybe we'll get a Listerine strip underneath the tongue, or like the ketamine nasal spray. These types of things.
Advancements.
Yeah. Like I've talked about, like, the Apple Watch, it's a great tool, but it's not worth how you look publicly, and eventually they'll be able to put that technology into like a thing that you put, inside your shoe, or
it's all there.
Built into your AirPods or something, and you don't even know it's there.
Yeah, I've been thinking about the Apple Watch a lot because I hate it so much. But I think when certain people wear the Garmin, like the real runner watch, I think it's really cool.
And it's because somebody's saying, like, I care so much about this information, and I'm a runner and I take care of my body, but I'm a little bit more prosumer.
Yeah, something about it just looks cooler. Like, I like the way it looks, just purely aesthetically.
Like you're counting your steps, I'm counting my kilometers.
Yeah, it just feels like the Apple Watch is also like people want to get texts. You know what I mean? And the Garmin feels like this is all business.
Yeah, you want to be able to tell Siri into your hand.
Yeah,
what time the movie theater is open.
I like the Garmin. I think the Garmin looks.
But you're never going to get one.
No, definitely not. I can't wear a watch of any kind. I just can't do it.
I'm getting better at it.
You wear a watch all the time, don't you?
Not all the time. But
you
enough.
take it on and off a lot, which I feel like I would either be like, I have to wear this all the time, or I'm not going to wear it at all.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we're doing some good podcasting right here. Oh, also Justin said he's Delta 360.
Yeah, I was very impressed by that, but I also, like, how could he not be? If you've been touring as a touring musician for over a decade, you should.
I think it's, people will like build up their credit card points by like putting everything on their card. Like whenever you're at the group dinner, I'm going to pay for everything. But I think the way to get that Delta 360 is to just always be the person who's offering to buy the flights on your personal card.
When it's 30 people, it really adds up.
Yeah, when you're booking a 25-person tour all over the country, all over the world,
shit adds up.
For 15 years, he might be Delta 720.
I mean, I pray for my invite one day, and when it comes, I'll never let you hear the end of it. That's a promise.
He was talking about when he received the gift, and it was very similar to when you're a Fenty beauty influencer, or when you get the crazy influencer gift and the truck backs up in your door and there's two guys bring out a steamer
trunk. There's like a Business of Fashion article about how wasteful it is because it's just so crazy.
But basically, you get a box and you open it up and there's a flat screen inside with a personalized message from like the CEO of Delta thanking you for being
like the
a
shit
member.
You see in the seat back before the flight takes off, but it says like, "Hey Justin, what's good?" It's the CEO of it's different. It's different.
Hey Justin, digging the new record. Anywho, but yeah, it's like the CEO of Delta giving you a big up on your 360. Do they get the tag to put on your luggage? Does that exist as well?
There's something. Yeah, there's like I think there's like a 360. It might be like platinum. Like
if I'm a TSA worker on the tarmac at Dulles and I see the Rimowa with the 360,
you putting a knee into it?
I am drop kicking that hoe. It's really it's just like putting a sticker on your house that says "Please rob me." It's
that's what they say about the Rimowa suitcase in general.
Yeah.
But I don't care. I saw that Raven Smith was using a Globetrotter, which
one is that?
Globetrotter is like the only other acceptable suitcase. It's like it looks like kind of like an old school trunk. Like it's not actually that shape, but like the vibe. It's got like two straps.
Okay.
It's like leather looking, but you can get your initials monogrammed.
Okay.
And it's
is
just
the brand Globetrotter?
Yeah, the brand is Globetrotter.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
And they're expensive. I mean, it's the same kind of shit, but it's just like a very different aesthetic look. And I was kind of like, I forgot about these. I really like these.
It's the Garmin to the Apple Watch. There's always got to be something a little different for these big spenders. So you're gonna go to Milan.
Yeah.
And you're just gonna look at chairs for a week?
I mean,
go to a hotel gym?
Basically. Well, the hotel is, I forget which hotel it is, but the gym looks insane. Like it looks like you're...
One thing about hotel gym in Wisconsin, you got that bitch to yourself, don't you?
Honestly, I'm not mad at that. I don't know why, but I was not mad at that gym.
I was not mad at it either. I think for the reason that it was so empty.
Yeah, it's me and you. Everybody else is getting the curds, and we're out here getting our steps.
But whenever you're at the hotel gym, there's always 2 or 3 super workout freaks who are in there, and you kind of see them and you know them, and you give them a little nod. More so you than me. But here, you never have the feeling that someone or multiple people are going to walk in the gym and change the dynamic of what you have going on in there. You never. It's very Wisconsin and like, you know, leave the front door unlocked. What's someone's going to break in? That doesn't happen here. It's no one's ever going to.
I ran into a couple guys the first day that were funny and serious, but like I respect, like you said, like, oh, you're about it. You like know exactly what you're doing here. You know how to behave. You're not going to be like watching Netflix with no headphones, you know, while I'm trying to put up these dumbbells.
You're not going to be farting on the Stairmaster. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I guess.
Let's go to the airport.
Yeah, I guess we got to go to the airport.
We got to go to the airport. We got an hour and a half drive. I got to stop and get you a butter burger.
Double butter burger, and then we're gonna get you a hoagie to gogie. I did not get my upgrade on the way home.
Sorry to hear that.
But I am Comfort Plus, so that's all right.
You'll be fine. That flight is a little longer than you want it to be, but it's not awful.
Yeah, going on the way back. And Carolyn is probably waking up in Vegas right now, Katy Perry voice, and she agreed to pick me up from the airport today before her last minute trip to Las Vegas. So that means, you know, at 5 p.m. Los Angeles time, I think the chances of her picking me up from the airport
are looking slim. I think that is fair.
And I was envisioning me being on the plane and then the Wi-Fi not working on this particular run, and then me getting a text as the plane lands from her saying like, "Oh, I'm still in Barstow. I'm not going to be there for a while. And then I'm going to be able to hoard this over her.
Yeah,
for a good long time.
That's good. So this is a win for you either way.
I mean, I don't think anything bad is going to happen. I think if she doesn't end up making it, she'll call Vic and have him pick me up. You know, but if I have to walk my ass from Terminal 3 to the Lyft pickup zone and then call $148,
you better have some fucking homemade. You need to have some homemade fresh rolls when you get off the plane. If you ain't picking me up, I feel you. All right, well, look, thank you to Justin and his whole squad, everybody at Jaguar for having us. Thanks to Bob Dylan for still being alive and playing. And
play a song, Bob.
Thank you to all of the beautiful residents of Eau Claire for welcoming us with open arms. We love Wisconsin. We love Minnesota. It's you know it's discovering a new part of the country at an older age is really gratifying.
Wisconsin, 12,000 lakes.
That's crazy. That's crazy. But yeah, next week we'll have the show with Justin, and there's going to be some video stuff coming out before that. And his record is out next Friday, I think.
And it's quite good. It's a happy record.
It is happy.
He's got some hits on there. He's got a great song with Danielle from Heim.
Yes.
That might be the song of the record.
We'll see. All right. How Long Gone? HowLongGone.com is the website. We're back next week with more podcasts, and thank you for listening.
Bye-bye.